नक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। चैतन्यं सर्वगं सर्वं सर्वभूतगुहाशयम् यत्सर्वविषयातीतं तस्मै सर्वविदे नमः। अपायोद्भूतहीनाभिः नित्यं दीप्यं रविर्यथा सर्वदृक् सर्वगशुद्धः सर्वं जानाति सर्वदा अन्यदृष्टिः शरीरस्थः तावन्मात्रो ह्यविद्यया जलेन्द्वाद्युपमाभिस्तु तद्धर्मा च विभाव्यते। दृष्ट्वा बाह्यं निमील्याथ स्मृत्वा तत्प्रविहाय च अथोन्मील्यात्मनो दृष्टिं ब्रह्म प्राप्नोत्यनध्वगः। यथा अपाय उद्भूतिहीनाभिः रश्मिभिः रविः नित्यं दीप्यन् वर्तते, just as the sun vartate obtains, nityam deepyan, always illumining, rashmivihi by the rays, apaya udbhuti hinavihi, vinasha janna shunyavihi, but the rays that are devoid of vinasha and janma, beginning and end, mean the rays that are changeless ever there, but those rays, how the sun stays, remains, is illumining the whole world. Meaning there is no kartrutva or sankalpa involved, sun just is in its own glory, in its own light. Tatha sarvadrik saragah shuddha saram janati sarvada. So just as there is no vikaritvam in sun, idea is that By eliminating everything that undergoes change, how sun that eliminates all changes does not undergo any change. So the Atma is changeless, nirvikara, sarvadruk, sarvagaha, shuddha, knows everything in general, knows everything, it eliminates everything in general and particular, because everything is known to us. Not only we know that this is clay, the general aspect of this object, that this is a part having this kind of shape and this kind of volume, the particular. All of this is illuminated by the same conscious understanding. When you say that consciousness, the self, knows everything in general through us, through buddhi and sense organs. The objects which are illumined undergo change, the sense organs through which they are illumined also undergo change, the mind undergoes change. Drugeva nadu dushyate, but then the dashta does not change. Sarvadruk, the one that sees everything, Sarvagha sees everything in particular. So Sarvam, he knows everything, not in terms of being a knower, but then he is witness of everything, illumines everything. He is a knower of the knower, he is because of whom the knower is. Anya Drushti Sharirastha. The one whose Drushti never goes beyond the body, meaning who is identified with the body. So Anya Drushti, taking Anya to be the self, Anatma to be the self. Dharva Sharirastha feels as though he or Atma is confined to the body. How does a sense of confinement come? By looking upon Anya, what is Anatma, as a self, and therefore thinking that I am within the body, that is my boundary. Tan matro hyavidya. Ignorance causes this identification, tavan matra, therefore anya matra, sharira matra, deha matra. Only as big, as good as the body, as the upadhi. Jalandvadhyupavistu tad dharma cha vibhavyate. And therefore vibhavyate appears as though possessed of the dharma of the upadhi, where the model is that the self gets reflected in the upadhi. That's the way of explaining. Because its nature, the subtle body, will reflect. Anything that is shining, therefore, always reflects Atma. Wherever subtle body is, there is reflection. Jalandu, just as wherever the water body is, there the moon gets reflected. Tad dharma cha vibhavyate. The reflected moon appears as though possessed of the dharma of the water, the upadhi, the reflecting medium. That's how Atma vibhavyate. So that is how the limitedness and the sense of confinement of the Atma is explained. Thus the moon appears confined to that body of water, limited to the body of water, and displaying the attributes of the body of the water. That is how the nature of avidya is explained. It brings about successive identifications. First, the identification of the cause, which is avyakta. It was explained earlier how that very avyakta, that cause, then manifests itself as a subtle body, the sthula and subtle body, the individual and cosmic subtle body, which in turn evolves into gross body. So that is the process, evolution explained this way, from causal to the subtle to the gross. Anya drushtihi. Therefore the Atma becomes identified with the cause, ignorance, and therefore the causal body, the identification. From that the identification extends to the subtle body. From there it extends to the gross body. And that is why there is sense that I am confined to this gross body. So explains the reason as to why we feel about ourselves the way we do. So Vedanta does not overlook the problem, explains the problem. You don't accept the problem, but explains why you feel the way you do. Then I will know what is involved in my feeling and where is an error being committed. So Vedanta seeks to point out to us the error involved in our notions about ourselves, the way we feel about ourselves. And that's the cause of sorrow. The way I feel about myself, a limited being, confined being, separate from others, this is the cause of sorrow. Ashochan, Anvashochastvam, other than that, Vedanta does not see any cause of sorrow at all. Nothing that happens out there or even within here has to cause sorrow. Doesn't have to. We are great champions that we convert everything into cause of sorrow. That's the different matter. Anything happens out there, yes. I somehow cause I look upon myself in some way involved, responsible, affected. Creating effect or being affected, one of the two. I am the cause or I am the effect. This is how I always judge myself, constantly, and suffer. So dismiss being the cause of suffering and nothing else. Nothing what is out there, nothing what is in here, that's what the way I judge myself the cause of suffering. Therefore the earlier verses explain why do I feel the way I feel about myself. Sharirastha, within the body. Therefore then this verse shows how to reverse the process of de-identification. If identification has a sequence from causal to the subtle to the gross, but the reverse order, the de-identification is shown. That's how the Mandukya Upanishad first shows the waker, then the dreamer, then the deep sleeper, then the Turiya. First the waking, then the dream, then the sleep, then the Adhisthana. Even though that is not the sequence of creation. Creation is from causal to the subtle to the gross. But the de-identification happens in reverse order. Viparita kramena, that is why the krama of creation is described. So that the de-identification can happen in a reverse order. So the Mandukya begins with waking state, even the waking state is the last. The sleep state is one. Then the dream state, then the waking state. You start with waking state, then see that waking is no different from dream. See that there is no different from sleep. See that there is no different from consciousness. Why no different? Because in the awareness of the waking state, the dream or the subtle body is always involved. You cannot experience the gross body without experiencing subtle body. When two things are experienced simultaneously, that shows that they are one. Of this, gross is dependent Subtle is relatively independent. And subtle cannot be experienced without the causal. And the causal cannot be experienced without consciousness. You could say even gross body also cannot be experienced without consciousness. It may be difficult to let go everything in one stroke. If you could, then there is no need for you to progressively go. But help us progressively let go. First let go the identification of the gross body, then the subtle body, then the causal body. Drishva Bhāhyam Jagaritam first. Drishtu Drishya Anvaya Vyatirikabhyam Karyakana Anvaya Vyatirikabhyam Cha Alocha. The Karya-karana, as far as Upadhi is concerned, that is the Karya-karana. The gross is Karya, subtle is Karana, subtle is Karya, causal is Karana, etc. With Atma Anatma, Drashta, Drishya. There also the Drashta is always there, Drishya changes. Seeing this fact, therefore, Nimilya, recognize that the Drishya totally depends upon Drashta. Drashta is there, whether Drishya is there or not. Therefore, Drishya is dependent. Mithya, appearance, and there is Nimi. Therefore, you can close your eyes to what is Drishya or the waking or the gross. Because that is experienced along with subtle. There was just as the ornament is experienced along with gold. Therefore, you have the freedom to focus on the gold and let go your awareness of the name and form. Bhāhyam nimilya atha smrutva jagrata vasana kayam swapnadarsam smriti tam smrutva. Recognize that the gross is not apart from the subtle. In that sense, waking is not apart from dream that way. You cannot carry out viveka and dream and deep sleep. You can carry out viveka only in waking. In waking, as though you create the equivalent of dream state. Just as in dream, you are not aware of the gross body or the sense organ, so also you can withdraw your awareness from the gross body and the sense organ. This is called nivilya, closing your eyes. Now being aware of the only subtle body. So pravasanamayam swapnamatram anusandhaya ityartha. The anusandhana of gross is gone, and the subtle that was also experienced along with gross now, anusandhanam is only in vasanamayam, in the subtle, equivalent to swapna, not swapna, equivalent to swapna. Now you are not in dream, you are waking, awake, but a situation equivalent to dream. Pravihaya cha vasana saitasya manah pranendriya sangatasyapi tat karana. So that this subtle body also is the product of the apanchika panchama bhuta. So panchama bhuta undergo that, so they manifest as the subtle body. The sattva aspect of the panchama bhuta manifest as the sense organ, the perception of the mind. The rajas aspect manifests as the prana and the organs of action. So all of these are nothing other than their cause, namely panchama bhuta. Therefore, vasana sahitasya manah prananda sangatasyapi tat karana panchatanmatrat anadekat. Even the gross body, which is like an ornament, also is reduced to panchatanmatra, which is like gold. Because the Manaha, Pranaha, Indriyani cannot be experienced without Panchatanmatra. Tesham cha utpattikrama vaiparitya tat karana savasa jnana matratvena pravilapya. So one stage is added here in terms of the Pancha Tanmatras. So you do not go all immediately from the subtle to the causal, but from subtle you go to Panchatanmatra, from there you go to causal. Tat karana savasa ajnana matratvena utpatti krama vaiparityena. The Prithvi Tanmatra into Jala Tanmatra into Agni Tanmatra into Vayu Tanmatra into Akasha Tanmatra. That into Ajnanam, Sabhasa Ajnanam, Pravilapya. Asa Anantaram, now this is a stage similar to the deep sleep state. It's not sleep, it's awake. So this moksha is not sleep, very much awake. But he is now sleeping to the gross and the subtle and the Panchatanmatra also. So therefore deliberately sleeping, withdrawing the attention. Sushupto bijatmakam ajnanamatram urvaritam. Now what remains is equivalent to Sushupti. What remains is only Ajnanam. That's the residue. Tadapi. So now that Ajnanam, what do you do with that? Where do you resolve that? So the Sat, Bhinna Bhinnadi Prakara Nirupana Asatvat. The Ajnanam cannot be classified as Sat, existent, real, or Asat, non-existent. Bhinnam, separate from Atma, Abhinna, non-separate from Atma, it cannot be classified in any way. That is what is called Mithya. Means Abhasa, in appearance, not really there even when it appears to be there. Vivekena Badhitva. How the divan there, how the one who cannot see during the day imagines darkness where there is light. So Ajnana only falls in that category. It doesn't really exist. It is only a product of my ignorance, meaning my problem is that I can't see it during day. And therefore Viveka. Now this is Viveka. So this is Drishta. Here Drishyam Drashtu. The Jnanam is Drishyam, I am Drashta, that is no separate from Drashta. Until now the Karya Karana Prakriya was there, understand? Drashta was there, but the Drishya was Karya Karana Prakriya, reduced all the way to Ajnanam. There is no Karya Karana relationship between Ajnanam and consciousness in a primary sense. Relation is Adhishthanam, Adhyaropa. Vivekena Badhitva. Badhitva means recognizing the Mithyatvam and therefore non-existence of Jnana also. Atmana Sarvavastha Sakshitaya Anusyuta Satchidanamatrasya. In all this process, one that inheres and persists is Atma. Satchidanamatra. Asti, Bhati, Priyam. That's all that persists. Jnana Prakasha Rupat. Atma is Jnana Prakasha Rupa. Unmilya. Now opening that. So far the closing Prakriya was there. Now opening that, being aware to that, being conscious of that. Nirupadikam Krutva. Drishtim Nirupadikam Krutva. Drishti is now Nirupadika. Even Drashta also is no more there. This Drishti, all that remains, that is consciousness. Sthita Brahma Prapnoti, that is how one attains Brahma. one owns of one's nature, that is Brahman or consciousness. Anadvagaha, there is no path. This is just owning up my true nature. Because of ignorance, which causes identification with what I am not, that is as long as though a disowning of myself. When you call it the process of owning up. So life also should become the process of owning up myself. Owning up my true nature. Who am I? Who is talking, walking, thinking, acting, reacting, whatever? Who is that? So this should be kept in mind as much as we can. This can happen as a result of being aware all the time, even the vyavahara also. There is self-forgetfulness, of course. I forget myself and act as what I am not. Because of that, again, forgetfulness. That's called identification. The identification is the result of being unaware of myself. That this is taken as a chain when I am unaware of this being gold. But chain cannot be experienced without gold, and nothing can be experienced without the consciousness that is I. So we have to develop practice of becoming aware of ourselves, of what I am. Who is walking, who is talking, who is doing things. We forget because of identification. Let's go pramada. Pramadave mrityuraham bravemi. That is mrityu. Now continuing with the next verse, 58. Anadvago brahma prapnoti iti uktam eva vishadayanna. Brahma prapnoti anadvagaha. Another pathless. Advan means path. Anadvagaha, one does not go on any path. There is no path of reaching Brahman. There is path of reaching Brahma Loka, of which other names are Vaikuntha, etc. They are all names of Brahma Loka. So what the Vedas call Brahma Loka is what later Acharyas call, gave them their own name, Vaikuntha, Kailasa, etc. And there is a path, because all these traditions are essentially focused on upasana. Worshipping, meditating upon Ishvara in a given form. And ultimately cultivating identification with that so that you become, Sarupya, Swami Salokya, Samipya. That kind of identification can be achieved by bhakti. Bhakti is process of identification. So this is basically what is prescribed by the other acharyas. Knowing that is easier for an emotional human being than this process of being indifferent. But otherwise, there doesn't have to be an advan or a path. Anadvago brahma prapnati uktameva vishadayanna. How the aspirant attains Brahman without traveling through a path, without a process of becoming, without a process of going, becoming. Vishadayan. So clarifying that Nirupacharita evasya muktihi. Asya mukti nirupacharita, unconditional, purna mukti. So this mukti that the aspirant gains is not gauni, is primarily so unconditional or purna mukti. Now upasakasya apekshiketi. Apekshiki mrityu. So Vedanta thinks that if you go to Brahmaloka, you will come back from Brahmaloka. Wherever you go, If you go someplace, you will come back. That is the general rule. So that is apekshiki mritti, because it cannot be eternal. That is relative mukti. Upasakasya apekshiketi dyotayeti pranadeti. This is not apekshiki mukti, this is nirupacharita mukti. So next two verses say that. Pranadyekam trikam hitva, pranadyekam trikam hitva, tirno jnanamahodadhim, swatmastho nirguna shuddha, bandho muktasvato hisaha. So Brahma prapnoti, he attains Brahman. What's the nature of Brahman? Svatmastaha, nirgunaha, shuddha, buddha, muktaha, swataha. That is Brahman, or that's the nature of Atma. So he was denying this for himself because of taking himself to what he is not. He was not. Now he owns up that. For that, pranadi evam trikam hitva. Evam in a manner described in the previous verse. Pranadi, prana is not avyakta here. This word prana was used earlier also. In sense of avyakta of the sushupti. So Tika says sushuptyadi ityartha. Pranadi is explained as sushuptyadi. For whatever reason the author used the word prana earlier also for avyakta, avyakrita, and therefore sushupti. Trikam hitva, prana is only one that is alive at that time, maybe that's the reason. So, hitva, therefore discarding, giving up these three states in the manner described in the previous verse. Next verse, swatmastaha. He was anyadrushti, anatmastaha. Becomes what? Swatmastaha. Swatmani sthitaha, one abiding in the self. Narchiradi margastaha. Now in that, for an upasaka, mukti sets him on a path, archiradi, etc. Here, this mukti sets him into himself. Swatmastha. Why is this a swatmastha? Abiding himself? No archiradi margastha. Not obtaining in the marga or the path like archiradi. So all this is described in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Adnirjyotirah Shuklah Shanmasa Uttarayanam. And then Archira, this is Archi. And Dhumorati Krishna Shanmasa Dakshinayanam. So this is the path of northern and southern path. Suppose northern part of Brahmaloka, southern part to Chandraloka, etc. Swargaloka. Swatmastha tatha nirguna. And also nirguna. Also part of yataha nirguna, there is also the reading there. Tatha nirguna or yataha, because it is nirguna. Swatmani, what is nirguna? Swatmani, pravilabhita. Nirguna is not devoid of guna. It's not absence of guna. Swatmani, pravilabhita, sakala guna ityartha. All the gunas have been folded up in oneself. Find self as possessed of all the gunas and beyond. You see? It's one thing to say that Saguna Brahma is possessed of all the virtues and you have no virtue. No, all virtues culminate into this. All the gunas, all the virtues, all the greatness which is there in Brahman with attributes, Sopadika Brahman, now culminate Not that you are devoid of them, rather there will be nothing in the life. That's what they think. This is nearest है आपका ब्रह्म तो उसमें कुछ है ही नहीं. Who would want that Brahman which is nearest? No. All rasa culminates into that. All gunas find their culmination. All attributes, all virtues, everything find their culmination to him. Not absence. There is Swatmani, Pravilapita, Sakala Guna Ityartha. He becomes one in whom all the gunas, all the virtues have been resolved or find culmination. Sa kashtha, sa paragati. Sa parakashtha, sa paragati. Parakashtha. Not absence of something. Parakashtha of all the virtue. So beauty, anything, any virtue is there, beauty is there, love is there, freedom is there. All of these find their culmination in which? That is Atma. Shuddha, nirupadika, devoid of all upadis. Atasvata, svabhata, mukta ityartha. Therefore, he is mukta by very nature. Essential nature is freedom. Second verse also clarifies this. Ajoham chamaro mrityuhu ajaro bhaya eva cha sarvajna sarvadrikshuddha iti buddho na jayate. Ajoham cha Amaraha, Amrutyuhu, Ajaraha, Abhayaha, Evacha. All limitations or upadis or attributes are denied in Atma. Ajaha, birthless. Amaraha, deathless. Same as Amrutyuhu. Ajaraha, free from decapitated. Abhaya, free from fear. So how do you describe? Only in the words of the terms of negation, but this is what we know. We know Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Bhaya. All of this we know. All of this is not there where? That's it. Sarvajna, Saradvak, Shuddha, iti buddho na jayate. Yo vidoham brahmasmiti yo buddha, who is woken up. So it says unmilya. Now opening your eyes to a true nature. Evam vidoham brahmasmi, ajoham chamaroham amrityuraja ajaro abhayaham sarvajna sarvaduk shuddha iti buddha. I am sarvajna, I am sarvaduk. So one sees oneself in this manner. All these words become very real to this seeker, aspirant. That's why he wakes up to his true nature, you can say. Buddha. What? Ajna nidrayaha nirgataha. Woken up from the sleep of ignorance. Na jayate punashrayam na grunnati. He does not acquire another body, including the subtle body which requires. So for traveling, he requires some kind of body. The Chandogya Upanishad and Brahma Sutra also discuss this as how when a Jivatma departs from this gross body, the 5 elements which represent all the karma he has performed, they as though make up his upadhi. With that upadhi he departs from here, and wherever he goes, these 5 elements then assume that appropriate body. Suppose he goes to Chandraloka, then these 5 elements with which he is going transform themselves upadhi, which is appropriate to Chandraloka. Where water is predominant. He goes to Swarga, then same 5 elements then transform themselves into an upadhi with appropriate Swargaloka, where the element Tejas is predominant. So there are various upadhis, Vayu, Pradhana, upadhi. Agni Pradhanupadi, Jala Pradhanupadi, Parthivi, and this world where Prithvi is predominant. He departs from here with all the preparation, all the births he is going to take until he is born again as a human being. That's how it is explained. But now he does not. The wise person, his prana does not depart with any of these encumbrances, no five elements. Punashariyam na grunati, does not acquire another body. Prabuddhasya punarjanmave hetumaha. Prabuddhasya, one is woken up like this to his true nature. Punarjanma bhave, how come there is a bhava, absence of the purva punarjanma, the next birth? Hetumaha, the reason is being told as to how he does not take up another body. Purvoktam yattamo bijam tannasti iti vinaschayaha tadabhave kuto janma brahmaikatvam vijanatah. Purvoktam yattamo bijam. Verse 17, 26. This chapter, 26 verse. Sushuptyakhyam tamo bijam swapna prabodhayoh swatmabodha pradagdam syad bijam pradagdam yatha bhavam. Sushuptyakhyam, what is called sushupti is tamaha, is darkness, ajnanam, ignorance. Swapna bodhayoh bijam. See the cause of the dream and the waking states. That swapna prabodha dagdam syat. That bijam called ajnanam, dagdam syat, becomes burned, swatma prabodha, by the knowledge of the self. Bijam dagdam yathabhavam, just as an ordinary seed, when it is burned, it no more than becomes another seed or another sprout, means no more germinates also. Here dagdam means turns to ashes. So also this ignorance turned to ashes now, it does not create any new birth naturally. Going back to this tika, sushuptakyam tamogñanam ityadina yat purvoktam ajnanam. So purvoktam earlier in that verse 26, ajnanam was described as tamaha bijam, swapna sushuptayo or swapna bodhayo was described as bijam, the seed, the cause of dream and waking. Yat purvoktam ajnanam, the ignorance that was thus described earlier. Tannasti iti vinishchayaha, tat kalatrepi nasti, it is not there at any time. All this came because of identification of upadhi. No identification, none of this is there. Therefore the ignorance has no existence in Atma, in consciousness at any time. Meaning that you can become aware of your true nature with absolute absence of Maya or ignorance. That's the whole idea. It is called Maya or Ajnanam to deny any reality to that. Even though the whole universe is created, there is suppose some kind of an existence is there. Sasadvyam anirvachaniyam, can't be called Sat, can't be called Asat. But that doesn't mean that it is available for denial or negation. Ajnanam means what? So jnana virodhi, that or jnanam virodhi yaschitat, that of which jnanam is virodhi, which can be dispelled by knowledge, is called jnanam. Tat kalatrepi nasti. When I recognize my true nature, even kala is not there. What is the question of anything else? So kalatraya is the product of ajnanam, not there. The nischaya. So how come that Nishya is there? Kasminnapi kale satah jnanamatrat tirodhana asambhavad. So this ignorance, which was sat asadvyam anirvachaniyam, there is tirodhanam, meaning that ignorance is totally gone. Sat vastu, that which is sat or real, can never suffer the cessation at any time. Kalatrepi kasmindapi kale sata jnanamatra tirodhana asambhavat. At any time, what is sat cannot suffer tirodhanam or cessation by knowledge. So what is there cannot disappear by knowledge. Anything. Ghata, pata, whatever is there. By knowing that they don't disappear. By knowing that they appear as they are. Knowledge dispels ignorance. How about ignorance? But ignorance by knowledge disappears completely. An entity such as Ghata Pata, which is there, by knowing or illumining that, it is revealed as to what it is. Doesn't disappear in light or knowledge. But here this ajnanam, which is tamobijam, ajnanam which is called there, disappears, completely ceases to be there in the wake of knowledge. Therefore, nasti iti vinishchaya. Kalatrepi nasti, it is not there at any time, iti vinishchaya. This nishchaya arises in the mind of this mumukshu. Asyatu jnanadaya matreva tirodhanat. Here, this ajnana, on the other hand, tirodhanam, suffers from cessation just by arising of the knowledge. Just as darkness is dispelled simply by the appearance of light. So ajnanam, the cessation, does not require anything other than light of knowledge. Shukti Rajatavat is not just called darkness, Shukti Rajata. Like Rajata or the silver superimposed upon Shukti completely disappears like the rope snake also. In the wake of the knowledge of rope, or in this case, Shuktika. तदभावे कुतो जन्म ब्रह्मैकत्वं विजानतः. तदभावे कारण अभावात कार्य अभाव. So this tamo bijam is the swapna bodhayoho karan bijam. The sushupti was the cause of the dream and waking state, and that is how the samsara. When that cause is not there, how can there be effect? Karan abhavat karya abhava. When there is absence of cause, there is absence of effect. Or when the cause is destroyed, effect is destroyed. Therefore, kuto janma, how can there be birth when the cause of birth is not there? The usual question, Aham Brahmasmi iti Atmanam Sakshat Pashyatopi. Even for the one who sees immediately, directly, I am Brahman, this wise person also. Purvat Vyavahara Darshana Tasyavi, for that person also you find that he continues to function as before. Tat krutat dharma dharma nibandhanam punasharira grahanam syat. All this was discussed in the afternoon. Therefore it would think that since he continues to perform actions, it may be classified as dharma or dharma, and it will produce an effect, and will therefore cause him to take good or bad bodies, Sharira grahanam syat. Therefore, this is what, as the 13th chapter says, Sadasadyoni janmasu. He is born in Sat or Asadyoni or Sadasadyoni. Iti ashankya bhajita anuruttimatatvat jnana vyavaharasya. The vyavahara, the functioning of that wise person, is only an appearance and not a reality. Anuvritti means what? The habit or the vasanas that the upadhis have. These vasanas just prompt Upadhi to function, as is the case always anyway. We are discussing that in the Shankarayana Gita, Tika. That it is the vasana that really makes this body, mind, sense complex function. You don't require consciousness to do that. Recognizing that I am conscious, I realize that this all is going on in my presence, I don't do anything. Therefore, a wise person, even though appearing to function, does not function. That functioning takes place, he does not function. Formerly he thought he was functioning because of identification upadhi, but it is not there, he knows he is not functioning. So now he knows, that is what he said, Vinischaya, when the Nischaya is there, Tadavhave Kuto Janma. Janma is not there, Vyavahara also is not there. न तन्निबंधन पुनः शरीर ग्रहणादि संसार इति. Therefore, kurundapi na karoti, he does not do, even though appearing to do. Like an actor acting as a beggar, he doesn't mean, in film these fellows perform criminal acts, So, all the villains do all kinds of things there. They are not imprisoned for that or punished for that, because they are all mithya. If he does it outside the theatre or something, that's a different thing. In the movie, it's all right. So, Vyavahara of a Jnani becomes like that. That he is not accountable for what he appears to do. Iti Drishtanta Purukamaha Kshiratiti. Oh, very interesting, unusual Drishtanta are there. We never heard of this kind of illustrations. Those illustrations you find here. Quite interesting. But other people have not copied these illustrations, generally. So, anyway, Kshirat Sarpe Yatho Dhrutya Kshiptam Tasmin Purvavata Buddhyade Jnastatha Satyad Nadehi Purvavat Bhavet. Kshirat sarpihi, butter, kshiram milk, kshirat sarpihi yatha udhrutya. So you extract the butter out of milk through curd and buttermilk and whatever process is there. Tasmin purva tasmin kshiptam. Now you place that butter in the milk. It doesn't mix there, it just remains distinct. Na purvavata. That butter or that milk no more behaves like the milk earlier. It is milk all right, but now in the form of butter. So now you drop it or pour it into milk, that milk does not behave like milk. Although it is milk, still remains distinct from the milk. न पूर्ववत् बुद्ध्यादेः ज्ञः तथा असत्यात् तथा ज्ञः. Similarly, the wise person, बुद्ध्यादेः असत्यात्, the upadhi is like the old milk from which you extracted this wise person the wisdom. Now wisdom is poured back into this upadhi in terms of vyavahara. Doesn't become one with that. The butter does not become one with milk. Even though it was milk at some point in time, but now it has become butter, therefore it no more becomes one with milk. So also wise person was at one point in time one with upadhi. Now jnana, and therefore even you pour him in upadhi. So from upadhi you extract it. Jnana, wise person. Put him back in the upadhi in terms of vyavahara, it doesn't mix. Therefore, butter doesn't have to make any effort now to remain separate from milk because nature has changed. So also a wise person doesn't need to make an effort to remain separate from the upadhi. Na dehi purvat bhavet. So also the wise person doesn't become like before, even though functioning through upadhi. Quite an interesting example. So Tikakara explains, Yatha sarpihi is navanitam, means butter. Kshira upayana udhrutya. So you have to make an effort to churn that milk in order to extract that butter. Tasmin neva nissari krute. But the milk is now nissari kritam, there is no more butter there. That milk becomes totally devoid of any fat at all. You remove that fat. Kshire kshiptam is as good as water. And butter, when again put in that water, na purvat aviviktam bhavati, aviviktam doesn't get mixed as before. Otherwise you take a portion of milk and put it back, it becomes aviviktam, can't distinguish. Same milk now is turned into butter and put in the milk, it doesn't remain aviviktam, it remains viviktam, it becomes separate from milk. Tata satyat buddhyade sangatat pratham atma viviktah. Similarly, buddhyade sangatat prathamam. From the sanghata comparable to milk, atma vivikta, atma is extracted, separated. He is called jnana, he is called the wise person. Wise person is the atma that is extracted from the upadhi. Now by viveka. By viveka means separating, by viveka seeing the separation. There the separation is not so. The example is not away, it will be in all aspects, but the situation now is similar that I am mixed with body or mind, upadhi, where I am just one with that. Although the milk being one with the milk is different from atma being one with anatma, but still there is oneness felt. So there the extraction was, that's upayana. So different upaya is required here. Upaya was churning in case of milk. Here upaya is viveka, atma anatma viveka. He becomes jnana. Becomes what? Wise person. Jnana matrupena udruta. Jnana means what? Jnana matrupena udruta. So from the Jivatma, who is the combination of jnana, consciousness and upadhi, from that by viveka just extract the jnana, extract the jnana matram, extract the consciousness, recognize I am consciousness only. Brahmasmiti vakyat avagata, meaning what? Brahmasmiti vakyat avagata brahma tattva brahma bhava. In response to this teaching, you are Brahman. Avagata brahma bhava, one who has not owned up the state of one's being Brahman. Now purvat punar dehi. Now as before, now you put it back in this upadhi in terms of vyavahara. Looks like he has become one with the body also because he performs vyavahara through the body. Dehi, dehadvaya sangat abhimanavan tasmi vidyamanopi. So for performing vyavahara, the wise person also has to establish some kind of identity with the upadhi. It is not it is the deliberate identity that an actor establishes with his costume. And knowing meaning that even while functioning as a character like beggar, he is aware of the identity. In that sense, the wise person also has opposed himself to upadhi. Doesn't become one with it night before. But for vyavahara, some kind of oneness is required. Because consciousness functions through a given body. Therefore, there is a special relationship with that body wise person also has. Not the kind of relation that was there before in there was ignorance, but still there is some relationship with which he because of which he functions. That is like pouring that wise person into the butter into milk, wise person into upadhi. See? Dehadvaya sangada abhimanavan tasmin vidyamanopi. He is still called Dehi to us. To the onlookers, wise person also looks an embodied one, Dehi. So, Dehe Abhimanavan, having Abhimanam, identification as though Vidit Deha, Shariradvaya, gross and subtle body, Tasmin Vidyamana, that is called Tasmin Vidyamanapi, is as though within the body, obtaining within the body, or Dehadvaya, Na Bhaved, Punar Na Bhaved, he does not become Avivikta, does not become one with it, even though now the wise consciousness poured into this, doesn't become one. Meaning that ahankara, identification does not arise. So I am so and so, that complex does not arise. And neva kinchit karometi manyeta, he knows I am not doing anything. Indriyani indriyaseshu vartante, the sense organs interact with sense objects in my presence. Sahankarasya karma bandhetu na nirahankarasya. Karma is not bandhetu, it is ahankara that is bandhetu. People always keep on saying karma is binding. Karma doesn't bind. The ahankara makes the karma. Ahankara joins with karma. Atma is joined with karma by ahankara. There is no relationship. So this karma, all this kind of, this karma and that karma. Karma doesn't do anything. Ignorance does it and ahankara does it. So karma you cannot give up. Ahankara you can give up. Sahankarasi karma bandhetu na nirahankarasya. With one who has sahankara, ahankara, one who has identification of the body, for that the body performs karma. Therefore he as though is bound. Otherwise he is never bound by karma anyway. Atma is never bound. But then this upadhika atma is bound. Upadhi is bound. And I attach myself to upadhi. So I am bound. Otherwise I am not bound. Nirhankarasya tathacha uktam bhagavata yasya nahankrito bhava buddhi yasya nilipyate hatvapi saiman lokan nahanti na nibadhyate yasya ahankrito bhava na. So sahankarapam na vartate yasya. One who is not identified and have the ahankara or the sense of I-ness in upadhi. Buddhi is therefore buddhi is not attached to anything in terms of the karma phala also. Hatvapi saiman lokan nahanti na nibadhyate. Even while performing action, he does not perform the action, nor does he get connected to consequences of action. He doesn't perform action, therefore does not get connected to karma phala. So this is the validation for what is stated in this verse. Sahankarasya karma bandhetu na nirahankara. Means karma is not bandhetu. Ahankara makes the karma bandhetu. If ahankara is not there, karma is karma. So here we will take a break and then we will continue in the next session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.